Hey guys, I'm Tim.
And I'm Bob.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Dan.
This is the Board Game Rundown. Today we are going to review Ready, Set, Bet by John D. Clare. This is a new game from AEG. It plays for 2 to 9 players. It says it takes 45 to 60 minutes.
No way.
I call malarkey on that.
Yeah.
We played
Legitimate malarkey.
I bet I will bet that bet will show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in this game, we are essentially, you can play it two ways. We only played it with the app, but you could also, so we had the app running the game, but you could also have somebody play as the house, and they're essentially rolling out the die, and they're calling out, I don't know, I would have a lot of fun playing as
Yeah, because you could be the announcer, like get
Yeah.
your voice on.
No,
you
yeah,
know?
I'd love that.
Get your
That means I
bets
don't
in,
have
folks.
to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The number 5 horses cross the red line. 2 more horses and no more bets can be played.
Yeah. So there's that aspect
There's some
to it.
that
I'll
could
sign up
make
for
the
that.
game take a little bit longer. Using the app, it keeps it at a pretty quick space.
Well, and also, though, it could make the game go faster depending on how fast they
you don't wait
roll
for
the
anybody to
dice.
place. Nope, just keep going.
Sorry. Those horses be running.
They're running.
It's because the app, there's probably a good 5 seconds between
Yeah, it gives you
each.
time to
It
react.
does have a timer, though, so you can determine how fast it
It goes.
nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Even better.
So, but anyway, so what's going to happen is you've got a series of bet tokens, a 5, a 4, 2 3s, and a 2 that everybody starts with. And yeah, somebody is either rolling these die or the app is rolling these die, and it's going to advance that horse one space every time their number's rolled. Now, if they get back to back, then
Certain
they get a
horses
bonus depending on where they are on the little horsey track chart there.
Yeah. Well, depending on what their start of their number is.
Right, so
Yeah, the
7 and 8
odds.
don't really get a bonus because those are like the most I guess 8 gets a 1 bonus and a
Right. 6 and 8. It's all determined by the odds.
Right, think like Catan, you know.
Sure.
A good game.
A good king, but Catan.
Anyways, so there are, like, we've played this a couple times. We've seen at least 8 races. Actually, we've seen 9 races because Mike and I watched one like just unfold, so we would have an idea of like
How it went.
how it looked.
Sure.
And I have not seen 2 or 3 or 11 or 12 win or place yet.
How it should be.
But and then the bet, right? The bonuses here on the board actually all pay out accordingly, right? There's a lower multiplier for the more likely to win,
Right.
you know,
And more of a
Higher
penalty.
payout for 2, 3, 11, and 12, as it should be.
and and a higher penalty for missing on these versus, you know, these aren't as punishing, I guess. But anyways, so yeah, you can place 1 token on a spot. There can only be 1 token on a spot unless it says otherwise, like the prop bets up there. And then there will also be exotic finishes. So they're going to be there. This is a small deck of cards, but there'll be a few different ones, and there'll be a different one for each race. So like by a nose, the second place horse loses by exactly 1 space. So, you know, so it's up to 3 people can bet on that one. And you're just, I mean, it's a gamble, right? It's a 5 multiplier, but it's a 3, you know, a negative 3
If you're wrong.
if you're wrong. And you're going to go through 4 races. And at the end of those 4 races, most money wins. There are VIP cards that you're going to get after each race. And you're going to draw 2, pick 1 to keep. And it is basically either an asymmetric player power. You know, it might give you
Extra betting chip.
might give an extra chip. It might give you an extra ability, a couple things here and there, or just complimentary chips. So if it's first card you drew, you'd get more money than if it was like the third
End of the
card.
game. Yeah.
So at the end of the game, you may not keep that if you don't, if you don't want it. But that is basically how it goes, right?
Gameplay, yeah.
You're betting until either all your chips are gone, somebody finishes the race, or 3 horses cross the red line. Once that 3rd horse crosses the red line, no more bets can be placed unless you have a fun card that I kept getting.
Yeah,
that allows
twice.
you
Yeah,
to
in the
bet
first
late.
round. Yeah.
Listen, you dealt me that card at least once.
But you shuffled it.
Maybe a
What?
little more
What?
on these prop bets. These are very simple. Like if the 2 or 3 horse beats the 6, it's a 3-time multiplier. But if you're wrong, you lose $2. You can also bet just for a color to win.
Yeah.
So the 6 and the 8 horses are red. There's a 2-time multiplier if you just bet on a red horse to win, but you'll lose $1. And these little kind of player powers that we get throughout the game are pretty neat. Like you can gain a 7-bet token, so you have a much higher bet token, but you lose $5 if it's wrong.
If you miss with it, it's huge.
Yeah, there's some other ones like I drew one where any of my bets on horses to win, gets an additional multiplier, which was kind of fun to toy with. So a lot of cool variable player powers in this.
Yeah, lots of variety. Okay, so that was gameplay more or less. So why don't we go into components? What's in the box? So components for this are pretty straightforward. I could see room for like a deluxified edition with like poker chips.
Right.
The thing is, this game is so easy to play, and it's at a pretty nice price point, quite frankly.
Yes.
I would rather deluxify it myself than buying a deluxified version. These coins do the job. I don't think they're great. I don't think they're bad. They do what they're supposed to do, but I would add my own set of poker chips to this game.
They do not detract from my experience.
Correct.
So I guess...
Same with the bet tokens. They do
Yeah.
their job.
You could coin capsule them.
Yeah.
I probably would, just so that I could click them.
Yeah.
Click them while I
It's
play.
very satisfying.
Well, let me find out what
Yeah,
size I
you
need.
just need the quarter size. I think those are all the size of a quarter, right?
Yeah, just a boot.
Just a boot. But yeah, and then you've got these screen printed meeples for the horses over here that go on the track.
Yeah.
I think they're fine. The 6-sided die are fine. I mean, you
Glad
don't
they're not
need
wooden.
you don't need anything other than just some plain.
Yep.
And I don't even know like
You don't need the board if you're using the app.
Also
Yeah,
true. You
it's
don't.
true.
You don't.
So this part almost irrelevant. I think most people will choose to play with the app.
I think a lot of people are going to choose to have. I think there's going to be a lot of people like Dan, like in a party setting. Somebody's going to want to be this guy.
Yeah.
Right.
This is a beer and pretzels game. Somebody's going to want to be this guy. I'm telling you. Just telling you.
Okay.
I agree. Like me, I would play the crap out of this with just the app. And the app was really useful. Like just so I guess we'll talk about that aspect of the components, right?
Sure.
We had it on Mike's phone. Like it would be better if we had a tablet, poor planning on
Or on the TV.
our behalf. But you could, cast it onto a big screen, which would be amazing.
Yeah,
I could see doing that at Pat and Julia's,
That
right?
would be fun.
Because that's how they roll.
We'll do that at my house.
Yeah.
Well, fine. I guess we could
Just saying.
only go to Elkhart and do it at Mike's house. But the app did a really good job of showing you where to place your tokens for your first, second, and third.
Which exotic ones paid out?
And then also how many times.
Certain numbers were rolled.
Yeah, and how many
That's
spaces.
what I was going to
things were
say. That's
moved.
actually a big thing that the playing it with this version can't do is in the app. Like, I had a card. As a matter of fact, I have one right here that says every time 10 is rolled, put $1 on this coin. As long as 7 doesn't win, you get all that money at the end of the round. So the app at the end just tells you how many times each number was rolled, because remember that sometimes horses move extra spaces if they're rolled twice in a row and stuff like that. So actually knowing how many times it's rolled isn't just looking at how many spaces it's moved. And so the app just says next to every single horse at the end how many times it was rolled, which is amazing. And with this, it can't do that. Now, I will say, though, the counter to that is if a person's entire job is running this, they're way more likely to remember, first of all, than just by hearing the app yell at them. They're way more likely, if the dealer is controlling all of it, they can be, oh, I rolled a 10 X amount of times. I remember that. Also,
Or you also have the extra second. You just tell them, like, hey.
that's what I was going to say. And also with a dealer, you can say, 10 is rolled. Remember your cards. Like you can say that every single time as opposed to, the built-in app. But that was a big benefit for the app. I love the card design. It's just like the punch-out tickets. Nothing crazy.
From all those times.
But,
you recognize
I like
that
that.
from all those times you go to the racetrack.
In all fairness, I've actually gone and bet at the Kentucky Derby. So, just saying.
Did you wear a big hat?
I didn't.
Oh,
I probably wore a T-shirt and jeans. So,
Keeping it
Checks
classic. All right. Is there anything else component-wise worth mentioning?
I mean, the quality of the cards is
fine. Did you
Fine.
mention
There's not really a
rulebook?
linen print.
Rulebook is very straightforward, really easy. I think it's great shape.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree. I love that. So it is the size and shape of the box. So Tim was setting it up and like refreshing rules and stuff when like Bob and I got here, and Tim from the rulebook taught us in like less than 5 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
so-
very easy to learn.
And you don't have to reference it once you learn the game.
Right.
No.
Right. Because then it's
Yeah.
basic.
Put it back in the
betting
box.
stuff.
You're
These
ready to
things
go.
are super handy, right? Because they got first
I like
place,
that.
so they're going to pay out all the wins, all the place, all the show. And then if it's second place, you're going to get the place and the shows. So it breaks it down.
And they're
for you.
double-sided.
What pays where.
Exactly.
It's-
And there can be ties, so there's multiple.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's great.
That's pretty handy.
Because we had one race where there was like 4 third place like,
shows. Yeah.
Yep.
And so it was like, dang, boop, 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 boop. So yeah, no, I was really very pleased with sort of the simplicity and the elegance of like all this stuff. Like
I don't know if this should go in components or, final thoughts, but I wish that these were switched, but I know that's unrealistic for this type of game. It works perfectly in this kind of game, but so you'll hear me talk about home stretch. I like home stretch quite a bit, and I like the big oversized racing board with the 3D horses that you're racing around, and then the betting is just like a little table in the middle because that's just math. To where this is clearly made to look like a betting board, like it's letting you know this is the main part of the game.
Right.
These are just going to kind of move. This is the main part of the game.
So if we had the giant size nobody is using the app because everybody is going to fist fight to be the guy who gets to move the giant, like the 20-pound.
Right. You get like the little pusher sticks.
Horses.
With a horse shape at the end.
This kind of has the feel of a roulette table.
Right.
It does have a roulette.
Right.
Yeah.
Even
That's
with
what I was
these.
thinking.
It's on point with its theme.
Yep. Well, I think that's fair to bring up in components.
Yeah.
Well, let's just go into final thoughts then.
Okay.
Final thoughts.
Bobby.
Yes. My final thoughts?
Yeah.
No, he just likes saying your name.
I do.
He does. So I think for me, the biggest thing about this game, the best thing, my favorite part is after all the bets are played and you're just watching the app.
Yep.
Oh, we're yelling at this
We're
phone.
yelling at the
We're
app.
like, come on, number 9. Come on, number 9. No, what are you doing? I'm like,
Oh.
that was just so much fun. Like that atmosphere that it created. I can imagine having it on the big TV with like, because it's playing the music in the background too, so it sounds like you're at the track. Then they do a really good job with the announcer voice, right? He's coming down the backstretch. He's finally exited the gates. Like the way they say.
There was one point where there were like 2 horses that hadn't moved, and the
Yeah.
announcer guy was like, "Looks like we got a couple duds on the track today."
It's pretty funny.
Probably not gonna win.
Yeah, I had the most fun just yelling at the app, trying to get my horse to go faster, even though it probably didn't help. But it felt good,
I mean, it felt like it helped.
It felt like it helped.
like it
Although it
helped.
didn't help. It felt like it helped, but it sure didn't help. But no, it's fun. It's goofy. Like you said, beer and pretzels kind of game. Right?
Yes.
So you're sitting around, kind of goofing around. So you're not taking it seriously, right? Nobody's controlling the die rolls. You're not manipulating it. Oh, if I could add 2 pips to this and try to get my horse. Nothing like that. You're just throwing out, having dumb fun, betting on horses, electronic racing. That's all it is.
That is it, man.
As advertised.
As advertised. Yeah.
But it was a good time. We were just, like I said, we were yelling at it, and just it was a blast.
Yeah, agreed. Mike, I know you normally don't like these kind of games.
I love these kind of games. I love betting. I like that risk and reward of I could put a really good paying out bet over here, but it also might cost me money.
Right.
So there's that tension of I don't know if I want to bet on him to win because it might cost me. The real-time element was awesome. Like it really creates even more tension because you only got so many times to get your bets out. And I can't tell you how many times I was holding on to bets that I didn't even get on the board because I'm like afraid to lose money. But it's like, well, I don't make money unless I spend money. So yeah, I mean, it's just a ton of fun to play. I really enjoyed this game quite a bit. I mean, it really captures the feel of betting on a race. It was fun. We're yelling at the horses. And I don't really have any cons to this game. It does what it sets out to do, to get a bunch of people around the table screaming and hollering about putting bets on horses, and it knocks it out of the park for me.
Yeah. Nice. Daniel,
you love these kind of games.
Your opinion is actually the one I'm most interested to hear because I knew that for the most part, unless this game was awful, Mike was going to be in the bag for it.
Right.
And I had a pretty good idea that Bob was going to have a good time with it because we enjoy these kind of games and stuff. But I know you don't always love gambling and stuff like that.
They tricked me into a gambling game
and you don't like push your luck. There's push your luck in this, And so anyways, this has a lot of things you don't like.
Fun.
So not a lot of negatives, huh, Mike?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, let me show you. No, I don't have a lot of
Unless
negatives.
you're talking about the money I had to pay for incorrect bets, because I have plenty of those.
Yeah, idiot. That's bad game design. I shouldn't have to pay money. I don't love gambling games and stuff. I do enjoy Homestretch quite a bit. I brought it up earlier, but it's because Homestretch is like so. Again, I want to say it's because it's so dumb, but that's like an insult. The game's very fun, and it's not like poorly made.
It's simple,
but it's
though.
it's just like chaotic, dumb fun, and I just really like that. And this one is definitely supposed to lean more towards the realism aspect. Again, the real time is a big improvement. If that's what you're going for, is that gambling feeling, that rush sitting in the stands feeling, the real time encapsulates that more than like in home stretch where you're just rolling the dice and then everyone's going, and then you're rolling the dice and then everyone's going, right? These are a huge improvement over a game like home stretch, the only other game I've played that I can really compare it to. But this is a huge improvement. Having these like, I don't want to say asymmetric powers, but these like
ability
you get
cards,
these
upgrades.
gradual passive abilities basically. So you get like stronger and stronger as the
And
game
all
goes
of them
on.
are pretty decent.
Yeah, I do think there's one that's a little bit more powerful than the rest.
bet.
But
Listen, it didn't help me win.
That's more player
Well,
error.
that's me
I
coming
think.
in second place.
that sounds like user error.
Yeah. You can bet up until the last minute, and you still didn't win your bet.
They were literally
Well, here's
fair.
the balance of that card is that
all the good places are gone.
all the good places are gone if you wait too long.
Sure, but if
So-
you
That's a
get
valid point.
this
Yeah.
and that, where you
Piggyback
can,
on
which you
all
did
the-
have in the
yeah.
last game,
Yeah.
that's crazy good.
Oh, that one allows you to place a bet on
Top
of
of someone
another
else's
one.
bet.
Yes.
Now it has to be the 3 for this card. His
Sure.
was the 4.
Yep.
But yeah, so I liked a lot of the different things going into this. I like all the different categories of betting. There were so many different categories that I was I didn't do like amazing anytime we played, but like I never came in last, never came in first. I was just kind of like in the middle. And
Middle of the pack.
but I liked just like trying to take advantage of like staring at these. Like there were a couple races we had where I was the only one with tokens up here because I was just trying to use this system,
And I would say it paid out for you, like a couple times. For sure.
Yeah. It wins more than loses. I mean, especially these. I mean, you throw a freaking 6 here, and that's a potential 30 for a cost of 1. See if blue wins.
Well, 4 actually.
Cost
Sure.
Sure, for that one
the
because the
sixes-
-3
right.
they scale, but you know what I'm saying.
But yes,
But like, so I was just trying to use those, but I like that you can, you have to pay attention to these. These change every round, and there was a lot of times where I was like looking at the board and scanning over here and trying to pay attention to what's happening. This chair is so loud. I don't know if that's coming up on the mic. There's a loose piece here. And then these are like a nice easy bet. I don't think anyone ever did
Nope.
that.
I tried it
7 was
once in the
constantly
first
up
game.
front.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that's
tried
the
it
whole
once in
point
the
of
first
7
game.
is it's going to get rolled.
It's
the
rarely
most,
going
right?
to get used.
And then these like are super rare to happen, but like once you see one
big
starts
payouts,
happening, you're
yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna keep an eye on that now. We got some duds. Like I got one because we had like 3 horses move 3 or less or something like that.
Yep.
Right? Was like one of them, and
And one was a
I got-
photo finish, I think we had.
right,
Yeah.
right.
so we got some of those to pay out, and that was really fun. I don't know. Overall, I mean, it was a fun game. I actually do think that I would enjoy it so much more being this guy. As a matter of fact, you know what I want to do? It barely makes a difference, but I would actually want to play with this behind like a shield or something. Not so that you can cheat, but so that the people playing have to listen to you as the announcer,
sure.
and they can't just glance over and double check things. Like they have to be listening and paying attention to you. I just
That'd be
think that
so
would
hard.
be
That's
oh,
way
gosh.
too much to remember.
so much more.
Yeah,
Then it becomes a memory game.
it does.
Oh, remembering where they are is important. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't know. Trying to mess around with something like that, just like to where they have to really pay attention to when you say 10 moves, 7 moves, 6 moves. But you're right. That's too. That's too much.
That makes it like Captain Sonar.
I don't say I have
That's
a
what
Captain
I
Sonar.
like.
Yeah. So somebody's like writing these numbers down, like trying
See,
to.
I'm trying to eliminate the
Notes.
gambling aspects of the gambling game and introduce aspects that I like. Nah, you're right. That was an off-the-cuff thought. Didn't work.
We're really happy to break the game you just
Yep.
designed.
Yep.
So again, overall positives, but that does not mean that I love the game.
No, I mean,
Right,
I've had
it's-
positive things to say about games I don't like.
Yeah,
I get
it's-
it. I get it.
At the end of the day, it's a gambling game for Dan. I would not play this unless I was asked to play this, and I'd be like, yeah, sure, it's 15 minutes. You know,
Well, sure. Yeah. And that's the flip. So, obviously, I'm way more along the lines with Bob and Mike. This game does what I love. First and foremost, creates an experience. We all like, even Dan, who doesn't really like get into games like this. Even Dan was having like enough fun that he wasn't there miserable. Like I've seen him in other gambling games. Yeah, no, you know what I mean? Like
whole time.
Yeah.
so to me, it's like, okay, this game isn't your bag. I get it. But we wanted to do a review. You're here. You're gonna play it. You're a good sport.
sport.
You're a good sport. You sit down and you play the games. But even you were like, I was like, okay, Dan's at least having like an okay
Having
time.
fun, yeah.
Because we played 2 complete games, and had very different outcomes.
Yeah.
Between those games.
From last to first.
And I just feel like if we had played it a third time, we could very easily have like a completely different outcome.
I probably would have been first again though.
Right. That checks out.
But I do feel like that because of the chaoticness of it, right, and the randomness of it, whether you're using the app or you've got somebody running the game, is that it's really going to stop one player who just knows how to play the game just from like completely dominating, because there's still a lot of timing, and things. So you could be really good at the timing, but
It's still random.
you never know, right? What horse is going to just all of a sudden go nuts. And I feel like it in a way recreates actual horse racing, because yes, this horse just won the Kentucky Derby. Yes, this horse just won the Preakness, but they biff on the third race. You know what I mean? Like it just, it happens.
It happens.
It happens all the time.
We'd get one horse way out in the front. We'd all place our bets in it, and then two
It
horses
wouldn't move
would pass
again.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, like what actually happens in horse racing.
Sure.
And so it's for me, this is more than like, and home stretch is amazing. Like I'm just looking at this as a completely different style of game.
Sure.
This is like horse racing simulator to me.
Right. Well, this is like track betting simulator, whereas the home
track
stretch is
betting.
more like
Yeah.
the whole thing where
Good
you
point.
like own the horse and things like
Right.
that.
Good point. Good point. Good point. But yes, I felt like that this was very intense, a lot of fun. If you are really crazy and you really want to make Dan hate the game, but Mike love it even more,
More real
put
money.
real money on it.
Ooh. Now we're talking.
Screw
Or just
poker
donate
night.
to charity.
Don't do poker night. No, donate to me.
Then Tim can buy my sympathy beer afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what I mean? You could do, there's a lot of things you could do with this.
Yeah, let's talk about that later.
You can
though.
buy me a victory donut.
You got it. You got it.
Yes.
But anyways, I just thought this was fantastic. Had a great time. I feel like this game does every single thing it sets out to do. And I think it nails it. I think this game does everything right. I don't have any complaints. I do like these kind of games. I like gambling. I like push your luck. I like
Real time.
I like Fast and Furious. Games
Well,
like this.
The second one I think was the best one, but sorry.
Really?
The movie?
I don't know.
That's
You
like
are wrong,
that is,
sir.
That is the one that everybody says is the worst one. I don't even like
seen
the
it. I don't think I've seen it. I'm just saying.
You could have picked. You had like 9 movies to choose from,
Just the
and
worst
you picked the worst one.
Okay, so we've already talked about comparisons to home stretch. I haven't played it. Much older game. I get the comparisons. I do know at least 3 or 4 people at this table that have played Long Shot, the dice game.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on how this compares to that?
Better.
I think I like long shots a little bit.
Oh, I like this.
Long
I
shot
think
is-
I think this is much better.
Long Shot is far more strategic.
That's okay. I like the strategic value of long shot. This is a more fun, chaotic, yell at the phone experience. Whereas long shot, you're just trying to.
Okay, so you had me at more fun.
I
Did
do
you
want to
say more fun?
He
I didn't
did.
hear that
He
wording.
did. He did say
I
it.
think it's also, it needs to be pointed out that neither one replaces each other.
No,
These
one-
are distinctly
different types of
different
fun.
games.
'Cause I
This
have fun
is
with
more
strategy.
fun,
Yes.
and it's more tense, where Long Shot is far more strategic, but they both
Yes.
play pretty quick and
Yeah,
have the
no,
same theme.
It's like you
Long
said, stupid fun, right? Remember that term you used? That was the type of fun I was referring
Well,
to.
yeah. The thing for me is again with not liking this genre of games very much. I would rather just play a throw your pieces to the board than like a thinky version of a game that I don't
Right,
like. Right. And then on top of that, also roll and write.
Ooh, dang, that's 2 strikes. No, I think long shot's really good, but I get what Dan's saying. You don't have to invest as much energy and time.
Much easier to learn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though,
Yeah. Well, this is learning.
even though Long Shot has a smaller box,
Nailed it. You
You
probably
win.
that's a $40 win right there.
quicker, yeah, this game is easier to learn. It's very straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
But
well,
two very distinct games.
but good
Very
question.
good.
Thanks for
They
bringing
don't
that up.
They don't replace each other.
They do not replace each other. I would agree with that.
Different types of fun to be had.
All right, let's go into final scores.
Let's go into final scores.
Bobby.
Yeah.
What's your final score?
Bob starts out in the lead.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna give it an 8. I really enjoy it. I'd probably pick myself up a copy. I would like to play it. Is it my favorite game? No, it's an 8.
Mike coming up from
What's
the
my opinion? Mike coming out in second. I loved this game. This game is a ton of fun to play.
Give me some dap on that.
I just, there aren't a lot of real-time games where I'm like, ooh, that was fantastic. Like, I've played some, but the real-time aspect of this game really shines. I like the tension of the building, the bidding. Man, I come at a 9 on this game. I had a blast with it. I want to buy it. I want to play it with all my family and friends. I just
you
really
want to play with
this
real
game.
money.
Yeah.
I enjoy John D. Clare's games as a designer. He's made some fantastic designs. This is one of them. I cannot wait until this game comes out. I have nothing but good things to say about it.
Yeah, Dan.
You sure you want me to
bring
show?
that average down, man.
Okay, so hi, I'm gonna bring the average down. But if you like gambling games, you should listen to me the least. So listen to them. Again, it's a fun game. I would play it if someone asked me to play it. I don't really have too many negatives to say about it. This is not my kind of game. I just don't like playing these kind of games that much. And I'm gonna go with a 6.5.
That's about where I thought you'd be.
It's not bad. It's
Actually,
a
I
fun
thought
time.
you rated it higher than I thought. I thought you'd give it a 6.
I was thinking 6 at first, but again, the two big things for me is the real time ups the feeling aspect of it, and at the end of the day, like Bob brought up, which I kept wanting to bring up and I kept forgetting, and I'm glad you did. You get to a point in the game, every race that we had, you get to the point where the app is going, and all 4 of us are sitting here staring at it silently and just like staring, and it's like we're just watching a race on TV.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't know about silent. We were yelling.
No,
at
but
it.
I mean, there were stretches.
There were some stretches.
just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
of just
Well, at
like
the beginning, because you're
silence.
waiting to see who's going to take
Sure.
off, who's
Yes.
getting to go. Yeah, so we're just waiting.
And it just
start
it
of the race.
feels
Builds
like
that
people
tension.
sitting and watching it on the television, and just
Yeah.
like they know their bets in the back and stuff, and like it does that well,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna fall there for now.
Yeah, I cannot wait to have this game, play with my family. This is a 9. This created such an awesome experience. I love real-time stuff. Like, there's not enough real-time games for me to like have it on like a favorite mechanism, or a mechanic for a board game. But like XCOM, right? Captain Sonar,
Sorcerer City.
Oh yeah, Sorcerer City, I guess, kind of. Pendulum, but we haven't played that yet.
I like Pendulum more than Sorcerer City. But anyways, 9 for me. This was a great experience. My family. And then another thing, super important, and you said this too. I will get this game played, like,
Yeah.
like it's not like I don't need that game. Mike's got it. It's like no. I can get this game played with anybody.
Yes.
Like anybody that
Yes.
like doesn't play board games.
Yeah.
It's like oh no.
Even
no.
your kids and stuff.
Here
They
we
just
go.
have fun
Yes.
throwing bets down.
Oh yeah, 10 and up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you guys buy copies,
Teach
I
'em.
don't care. I'm
Yeah.
still buying a copy, and I'm
Exactly.
taking it to Thanksgiving
And
with me.
and
Right.
also like price point, right? Price point is so
Yeah.
like crazy low. It's like $35 or something.
Yeah.
It's great.
Nice.
MSRP is right in a great spot. So please go on.
Yeah, so if you take all of our bets and you average them together,
Whoa.
8.1.
So,
Pretty good.
so it looks like
Million.
Dan owes everybody 3 because he was he was
bet
out.
wrong,
He was
yeah.
last. He bet
And
wrong.
I nailed it.
I'm sorry.
So you guys bet-
Bob won. Mike
Yes.
placed. I showed. You made yourself 4th, buddy.
Wah, wah. That's all right. I still feel like a winner. Does that count?
No.
All right, guys. This has been Ready, Set, Bet from John D. Clare. This game is amazing. I just think most people are really going to, if you like any aspect of this game, I think you're really going to have a
very
good
fun.
time with it. It's super easy.
Really fun.
And a very low investment for high reward, right? So it's like betting to show.
Right, for 7.
For 7 to show.
Yeah.
Low risk, low reward. Okay, good reward. All right, guys.
Anyways,
For the board game rundown, I'm Ben Tim.
that was Bob.
I was Mike.
Oh, Dan.
I was working that analogy like beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
It was already dead.
We'll see you next time.